Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to this session on climate change and environment sustainability in urban infrastructure development, addressing pollution through smart urban system. As cities continues to grow, addressing climate change and urban pollution has become one of the most pressing challenges of our time. Sustainable infrastructure, smart technologies, and collaborative governance are essential to building resilient and environmentally responsible urban system. So today's discussion will explore practical solutions and innovative approaches to achieving this vision. It is my honor to welcome our session chair, Professor M. Satish Kumar, Dean at Queen's University, Belfast. Welcome, sir. We are joined by an esteemed panel of speakers. Engineer Alok Suman, fellow member at Institution of Public Health Engineers. Engineer S.K. Chadda, former Chief Engineer, Delhi Jal Board. Welcome, sir. Mr. Prem Rana, Chairman of Construction Industry Development Council. Welcome, sir. Mr. Rajendra Inani, Vice President and Segment Head, Water and Smart Cities at Tata Projects. And Ms. Sunita Purushottam, Managing Director at Global Buildings Performance Network. Can I have a huge round of applause for our speakers? Thank you all for joining us. I now invite our chair to kindly begin the session. Sir, over to you.
Thank you very much. My name is Professor Satish Kumar. I am from Queen's University in Belfast. मेरे लिए घर वापसी है. I'm back to Gujarat in Gift City. So I just thought in terms of the theme, climate change and environmental sustainability in urban infrastructure development, addressing pollution to smarter urban systems. And I just wanted to contextualize the theme that we are looking at today, especially in the context of urban infrastructure. I was just talking to some of the defense forces, a brigadier and colonel and others over lunch, and they told me that the changes in Leh is phenomenal. The changes in Ladakh is phenomenal in terms of the infrastructure development. So all across India, we have seen some tremendous changes in the infrastructure, just giving a perspective at the back, in the background for you to have a look at it. But also the fact that we are also engaging people, because infrastructure without people means nothing. Even with smart infrastructure, we still need people to make decisions. So it is really important to keep that context in mind. In terms of the ideas of climate change, I just wanted to make some perspectives, some ideas around the questions of climate change. There is a 66% probability that the global environment will be affected by global warming, with only 34% chance that it may not have any effect at all. So when we make this sort of an assessment, we understand that there's a big gap in our knowledge of the problem and the willingness to address those gaps. So that is the starting point of the perspective that we want to understand. So the challenge is three times. It's in three forms. The challenge is about stabilization, the challenge is about mitigation, and the challenge is about adaptation. So stabilization, mitigation, adaptation are the three challenges when we deal with climate change. So when we look at urban infrastructure, the question is, what are we looking at? Are we looking at mitigation? Are we looking at adaptation? Are you looking at stabilization? What is your technology addressing the questions and challenges of today? So I think from that point of view, it is really crucial to keep in mind that environment is generally considered in terms of either or options. It is, you can dispose of environmental questions, or you can include that in your framework. The question is whether environment or development should necessarily be seen as an alternative. Which one is it that we are addressing? Which one is it that we are challenging? That's the perspective that I want to. The second point I want to also raise is the politics of myth and reality and scientific rationalism. Human intervention with nature is an intensely scientific issue. It's not apart from the scientific question. So when we as human beings intervene in the environment, then there are serious consequences, but there are also opportunities and challenges. And I've given a perspective, a framework there in terms of demand growth, supply challenges, technology and policy, environmental impacts, security of supply. So I would like to provide that as a context and invite the first speaker for today, Ms. Sunita Purushottam, Managing Director, Global Buildings Framework. Can I now invite her to the stage, please? Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. I am Dr. Sunita Purushottam. My PhD was in air pollution, so I'm going to, and I'm a pass out of IIT Bombay. I'm going to talk about how design can help us create breathable cities, and what better than Delhi to speak about this. And I've done a lot of work around air pollution and how urban spaces can be designed better. I was responsible for Trafalgarization, for modeling the pedestrianization of Trafalgar Square. Also London's congestion charging, I was part of that team for determining the impact on London. There are many other projects that I was involved in India, including what is the impact of BRTS on air pollution and cities. Who we are Global Building Performance Network. We operate in 4 geographies: India, Africa, Indonesia, and China. And together we wish to build a healthier and more sustainable world. The word healthy is very critical, and I'll come to it why. Because at end of the day, it's the people, and we work with a coalition of government, experts, and industry to focus on design, to deliver, and then scale so that it can be integrated into various city design guidelines and rules. These are some of our ongoing efforts. We are working with the Bureau of Energy Efficiency for digitalization of the e-compliance platform for the building code, and that's critical. We do have private sector work as well, and the first part is the health, the most important part is the health climate nexus, where we have actually come up with design guidelines for buildings, putting it into the building bylaws, and this was accepted by NBC, the National Building Code, and now we are moving on to low carbon, healthy city guidelines on urban planning. We are also known for getting people together for fit-for-purpose solutions that can be used as a trigger or evidence-based trigger for government policy change. Coming to breathable cities and how we can design it better. So urban morphology actually shapes the air we breathe. And we don't think of it that way. We feel that हम कुछ भी बनाएंगे, हमारा air pure होना चाहिए. But look at the dichotomy in the picture here. And you can see how the picture on this side, the green one, inherently has design elements that ensure that the air is clean. So this presentation is actually to explore the shift from mitigating pollution to actively purifying the atmosphere through design. Are we getting the design of our cities right? आज खिड़की खोल नहीं सकते हम. The simple act of inviting the outside has become a gamble. खिड़की बंद रहती है. And this desire for ventilation and the apprehension कि बाहर की हवा हमें खा जाएगी, this haze is very heavy on our hearts and our minds. It has got a faint metallic taste, and if you live where I live, it is actually garbage burning that is happening outside. It is our own waste that gets burnt outside. The city is actually a chemical reactor, and how you design the buildings, hum to abhi, whenever I'm told that we shouldn't develop in vertical, वो गाड़ी निकल चुकी है. Vertical development is a chemical reactor, and as we have heat, पूरा concrete कर दिया क्योंकि we have to concretize, पेड़ों के लिए जगह नहीं है. These are active chemical systems, और आज आप dust कर रहे हो, ozone से डरो. Okay, these ozone at ground level has significant impact on the way the way we go about and our productivity. So the urban heat is actually a catalyst. There are NOx and volatile organics from the numerous amount of cars that we have now put on our streets, and the heat and the sunlight will give you ground level ozone. It's not about the ozone layer I'm talking, it's the ground level ozone and smog. That's the haze. And at the end of the day, if you're feeling something and you're not very productive, it's ozone that's hitting you. Okay. We believe that the green infrastructure, it is a natural filtration technology, and we no longer are using that as a living filter. They remove a lot of pollutants, and they also cause cooling, right? But they don't figure in our plans, and if once a tree is removed, it doesn't go back. And nowadays you have a lot of facades, especially of retail facades and I can name the numerous stores that are coming up which have glass facades, and these trees are not there just because the storefront has to be visible. And it is a real problem that needs to be solved when planning permissions are given by municipal bodies. Cooling the city, it is actually, if you put an impermeable surface, is this the way it should be designed versus what should be done in terms of, how do we put the green infrastructure in place? So the temperature difference can be seen. We are looking at ground level ozone, we are looking at urban heat, and these are all the precursors for smog or the haze that we feel. Permeable surfaces, and I saw some good neat solutions out here. There are replacing impermeable concrete allows rainwater to infiltrate, and the stormwater runoff slows down. And that flush of pollutants, it supports healthier soil, which acts as a sink for all the atmospheric contaminants. Aaj ke din mein, the soil is not there. It actually then settles down on concrete, which again gets, it's again swept up and through through vehicles or by the sweepers back into the atmosphere. So the soil no longer acts as one of the biggest mechanisms for taking down the atmospheric contaminants and retaining it there. Again, it's a matter of design actually. Dedicated bus lanes, perhaps cycling lanes, involving shaded pedestrian paths, specific paths for auto rickshaw stands and so on. Designing walking and cycling to be safe and convenient is actually designing for active transport. We do not design for active transport. Our society has become car-centric, car first. Even if you look at how better Bharat Mandapam could have been designed, could we have promoted more trees, more walkable pathways, as opposed to complete concretization? Walkability requires a relationship between the environment and well-being, and the first right is amenities to be accessible without car. Are we making walking the first choice? And that is linked to our health, isn't it? We need safety for ourselves, for our children. We need comfort for ourselves, for old people, for young, old alike. Mixed use zoning, all essentials to be within reach, and promoting walking, because that's what we are not doing anymore. How do we sculpt the wind? Isn't it a design problem? If we have a street canyon which is actually acting as a barrier, and as you do air pollution modeling, you will understand this is called as surface roughness. Do we design wind corridors which allow flushing out pollutants, or we allow the pollution to disperse? The United Development Control Rules, especially in case of Maharashtra, does not allow for setbacks. This will mean that the high FSI that is now being given to all the developers for high rise will not allow for flush out of air pollutants. How do we live? जी नहीं सकते. Okay. The science of surfaces react. Again, it is leads to the ozone formation. Of course, there are other pollutants as well. Do we have surfaces which are lighter in color and allow the heat to move out? Okay, so high albedo, these, of course, this is linked to how surfaces behave and react, not only in terms of urban heat, but also in terms of air pollution. Of course, the health dividend of design is there. Ozone leads to cognitive decline. There are higher instances of cardiovascular diseases and heat-related illnesses, asthma and inflammation. All of these, inflammation is the biggest cause for cancer, by the way, okay? And today the doctors are afraid of toxins and stress. The stress is not just work pressure stress. It is stress because there is a toxin in your body. There are different types of toxins, the food we eat, the air we breathe, and the water we drink. And that is leading to continuous inflammation within our bodies. And that is why our cities have a lot of cancer hospitals today. They're dealing with our inflammation. Okay, so finally we are talking about environmental justice and equity. The benefits, of course, of clean air are unevenly distributed. You know, there'll be people who will tell you, "Aapka society green hai, aap paise wale hai." Okay, the true sustainability actually is equal, and it prioritizes air quality improvements across vulnerable neighborhoods. Clean air is actually a collective inheritance and a fundamental right. Can we solve the problem by design? So that's I have exhausted my time, I think. Yeah.
Much. I'm just wondering, are you able to stay for the question answer?
Yes, I will stay for some time.
So
Yeah.
would you like to do that now or later?
Yeah, I mean,
That's okay. Can I now, I think we have some time for any immediate questions, or we'll take the questions later. We can take it later. Is that okay? So can I now invite the next speaker, Alok Sumanji, a fellow member of IPHE, to make his presentation. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Just one quick clarification. It's both joint presentation. Okay. Joint presentation with Chandra sir.
About to speak about this.
That's okay.
Yeah.
Please go ahead.
So, welcome here, and I'm very thankful for Municipalika to give the opportunity to present this case, the Yamuna case. I'm presenting this on behalf of IPHE as well as my co-author of Mr. S.K. Chadda. We are about to discuss about Yamuna River. Just I want to check. Yeah. So Yamuna River is a largest tributary of a Ganga. Everybody knows about that. It has many segments, 4 segments specifically. One is Himalayan region segment. Second is upper segment, which is come from the foothill of Himalayan and then up to Wazirabad Barrage. Then next is the Delhi segment, which is highly polluted. Now we are discussing about the environmental challenges, but river is one of the most important thing for a human activity and human living beings. So in this Yamuna river as a holy river, it's called as one of the holiest river in Hindu mythology, and this segment, when we distribute it into the 4 segments as per their nature of river basin. So next segment is eutrophicated segment, where all the wastewater from the main city center, generally from we say the Delhi segment, is getting the most of the pollution from getting into it. And next is the diluted segment, where most of the sub-tributaries of Yamuna get diluted and get water from the other rivers. So we were discussing about the pollution in Yamuna. Normally, not only the Delhi is making pollution, the 70% of the Yamuna pollution come from the Delhi catchment area or Delhi segment, because number of drains are here, almost 23 drains falling directly or indirectly to this segment only, the 22 kilometer from Wazirabad to the last one, Okla Barrage. Then the next one is Mathura, Agra, Etawah, Panipat, Sonipat, and the Bagpat. These are the industrial town on Yamuna bank. They are also contributing the pollution, but if we insist on Delhi, Delhi is very small segment, but they are giving the more than 80%, around 80% of this. We will discuss about how and what are the sources of the pollution into that, and what other stakeholders we can have a discussion on this. So these are the Delhi catchment area, the Delhi segment area map. Number of drains, I told you that like 23 drains are directly falling into that. But even then, within that Delhi area, we have a 3 main catchment of drainage basin. One is the Najafgarh basin, second is Okla basin, and third is Trans-Yamuna, normally known as a Shadra drainage basin. So all of drains directly coming to Najafgarh or Okla basin area, which coming carrying the treated as well as the untreated wastewater from this catchment. And this is not only Najafgarh is getting water or a wastewater from Delhi, they are also having the cross-boundary catchment area like Haryana, and for Shadra it's a UP. So these are the drains names, mainly identify the CPCB as well as the DPCC and the Delhi Environmental Department. These are maximum getting volume. Here I don't want to go into one by one. I just want to give a brief about that, from where these are starting and where they are confluencing at the Yamuna River, right? This is from the Wazirabad, we took the reference of a Wazirabad barrage from where, and it's coming to till the end of boundary of Delhi, last one. So like Najafgarh drain, Shahadra drain, Old Agra Canal, Kalindi Kunj, Old Agra Canal, Okla drain, the Barapula drain, Tukladabad drain, Powerhouse drain, Dr. Sen Nursing Home drain. These are the old one. Even the Delhi having sewage system since Britishes. Before it was designed by any planned city in the New Delhi in NDMC, the Britishers has done the brick sewers, very big canals to supply the water, as well as they take out the water, the sewage, whatever they generate into the city. And I also want to show you what is their present, the contribution of a flow into the sewerage system, or the drainage having in terms of volume. Now I just come to the major drains. I'm just put one figure because BOD is one of the indicator to find out the pollution in the river and or the drain. So the BOD is not alone is the only pollution, but the other pollution also. But generally everybody know about the BOD, biological oxygen demand, for the sewerage or a wastewater. So how much they are getting into before they are meeting to the Yamuna river or a confluence point of that one. So we took the all major 3 drains, the Najafgarh drain having the maximum flow. We have seen the more than 200 MLD flow is coming from Najafgarh drain. Even similarly for Shadra also having more than 500 MLD wastewater. Treated or untreated, I will come to the next slide. But if we see the trend from 2017 to 2025, the BOD level is almost continuously, they are putting near about 180 or 95 or so. So maximum load is coming from Najafgarh. Second largest is the Shadra and the Sarita Vihar. Sarita Vihar has took because independent, a single Okla zone don't have a single drain, so but it is giving just before the Okla barrage confluence point. So it is meeting the Yamuna river near to the Okla barrage, which is diverted to the Agra canal or the other irrigation project in the UP and Haryana. So, and when we discuss or when we find out specifically from last year, January to December 2025, from the CPCB website and the DPCC website, the trend on a monthly trend, we find out that it is more than 100 BOD in a drains. Even the DJB or the Delhi government or DPCC are putting many efforts to cater, to divert these drains, but they are unable to find out. As per the result, they are already showing it. Only the segment where we have a monsoon period flow during that from July to August and up to the September. Then we can find out the dilution or a BOD level come down near about 26, 22 or 8. This is even then, this BOD level is not good enough to make it like a class C river bathing standard as per the DPCB standard guidelines. Now this is the Yamuna water quality. Once the drain fall into the river, then what happened and what the quality changes. And I find four points where the Najaf drain, downstream of the Najafgarh drain, then the ITO bridge and Nizamuddin bridge and river Yamuna meeting after Shadra drain. When we find out this water quality, these water quality is done by the DPCC or the CPCB. This is not my result. These are authentic results coming or published by the government of Delhi and submitted to the platform of like the NGT and all. So even then, after meeting the river water quality, when we saw the drain water quality having the BOD about 100, but now once we have some dilution, but even then the water quality is very far away from the bathing water quality or class C level in the river Yamuna. It's ranging from 49 to 64 or so on an average from the Najafgarh drain or a IT or a Shadra drain. And this is again I narrow down the result to publish that what is the variation during the years. So from January to August, it was the only data we have available, and the same trend what we saw in a yearly wise, in the drain wise, the same trend is there. When we have a monsoon flow or a river flow, the rainwater into the river, then we are able to get that flow is having a good, better BOD quality, and similarly the other important things, the COD or some emerging pollutant or a plastic, these are also affecting this one during the lean season. And you can easily see when the river water as well as the Najafgarh drain color changes. You can see the black color and the just muddy color of this one. This is only for visualize you how river who has not visited any site of these area or a confluence points of a drain, these are look like a similarly to the Shadra or you can say the Najafgarh drain. And now we just want to know what are the basic source of pollution in the Yamuna river. First, domestic sewage. We generally know the more than 80%, whatever we consume the water, the 80% of sewage become the wastewater or a sewage. Then even the overall pollution in the Delhi segment, the sewage volume is very huge. So this is 80% of total volume of whatever we are disposing to the Yamuna river. And then next is the industrial wastewater. Industrial wastewater, more than 13 ETP or CTP is already working in the Delhi, but all of them, some are meeting the requirement as per its design standard, and sometimes they are not meeting the requirement. So that also we can consider these are the partially treated wastewater, industrial wastewater, or the untreated wastewater is coming directly to the river Yamuna through these catchment of the drains, the Shadra drain or we can say the Najafgarh drain or a Okhla drain, because in Delhi we don't have a very clusterized industry area. Sometimes we have a home-based industry also, which are undefined, unregistered, but they are wastewater coming directly or indirectly through drains after treatment or even the before treatment or untreated one. The second one main problem is the dumping of disposal of garbage, the solid waste normally. And normally we, as a river is Yamuna river is also a holy river, and it's in mythology we know like that the Yamuna is a daughter of a sun and the sister of a Yama. So it's offering on every second day, we can say the people are going to collect there and they offer some flower, plastic and the other non-disposable material into that. So this is also one of the unidentified or unquantified material where the pollution come to the river Yamuna directly. And and the sewerage infrastructure, I will come to that point also, because Delhi is generating more than 11 MGD in one side of paper, and the other documentation shows that Delhi is generating around 792 MGD wastewater. So these the capacity wise, the Delhi having the sufficient capacity as per their numbers, but sometimes they are not 100% efficient as per the DPCC standardization, or a 10 BOD, or 10 BOD and 10 TSS, which they are not meeting. So as per my analysis and the data provided by the to the NGT or the DPCC, around 55 to 65% of the whatever sewage is collected by the Delhi Jal Board come to the sewage STP treatment plant, that only partially treated, or they are not treating 100% up to that standard which is required or intended to be. Then one of the second major issue is the unauthorized human settlement, the like Juggi Jopdi, or some plain area is there, or blank area, or barren land is there. They start with the one house, then they start building the colonies and all. Sorry. And open defecation is still there, if you see, but there we cannot say 100% is over, but still open defecation in the rural or a small this type of unsettled area, unauthorized areas there. And one more problem is slaughterhouse waste, which is don't have any ETP or STP, and next is microplastic, and third, the next one is a dhobi ghat discharge, where the many dhobi ghats are on directly located on the river bank. Right? These are the detail of where I just spoke about the CTP and the dhobi ghats and the seasonal variation, because of we found out the dilution in the river. And these are the microplastic we found out from the study that Terry has done these studies, the Center of Excellence, with the help of NMCG and the DPCG, the Environmental Department of Delhi government. They have done study and they found out that these are very high level of microplastic is available even during the monsoon season also, which is unbearable for health. And now we will discuss who is the owner of this river, who in this segment of a Delhi. So many departments are working together or in isolation, like DDA having the land, the MCD. They also do the solid waste management, the DPCC who monitor the quality aspect of this one and flow, the DJB who is doing the treatment plant, STP, the DSIDC, the CTP, irrigation and flood department who monitor the flow, the upper Yamuna board also do some the planning part of that. And of course the NDMC, because some of the drains passing through that NDMC area. These are the sewage generation during Delhi from 2015 to 25. They are saying, like I told you, the 792 they are generating. But my point is that since 2015 to 2025, they have very marginal change in the volume increase reported by the DJB. So when the population grow as a rate of a decadal growth of around 2.5%, then this volume of sewage is also maybe increasing. So that also we have to talk about. We just should not report under-report. We should report the factual and the fact as per the population projection. And there is a gap as per the treatment capacity available and untreated and the treatment. These are the monthly variation where we can say the sewage generation and the sewage availability of a treatment capacity available as per the DJB. I'm sorry I'm taking a little bit more time, but it's interesting to show you how what are the pollution available or are the killing the river. I will just say the killing the river because we don't have water, we don't have DO in the Delhi segment because it's essential for a ecological health of a river. And these are some points where I already spoke that the river from downstream of Wazirabad to Okhla Barrage is very unhealthy or a very fresh water source, we can say. And one of the reasons is that most of the water is consumed by the water treatment plant because the fresh water coming from the barrage is taken by them. And these are the references I took for this study, and thank you. And
Thank
sorry
you
for
very
the-
much. Thank you very much for both the joint presentation of Mr. Suman and Mr. Chatta. Can I now invite Mr. Prem Rana, the Chairman of Construction Industry Developmental Council, to make his observations, please.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I thank the Municipalika to invite me to address this August gathering. One thing is clear in all the sessions, including this, that when the city size grows beyond a limit, it creates problem. So, how to prevent that problem? I think I will not go into the problems more because we have been listening in every session. I will try to go, what is the solution? And when we try to think the solution, we have to see what is the basis of that solution also. Which point? Yeah. You know, a model was suggested to prevent all those problems and find the solution for future. India, even today, is 1/3 urbanized and 2/3 is still in the rural area. So we still have the opportunity to prevent the problem which we are facing in the existing cities in our future. And if I say that our main problem has been concentration in the few cities, and we call it primate city syndrome, because we don't have the regional development in a balanced manner. Every activity and everybody focus to the main cities, and that is why this main problem starts with the size. So the concept of Pura was introduced. Initially, it was thought of provisioning of urban amenities in rural areas. And that was the concept proposed by our professor from IIT Delhi, Professor Indresan. And then we thought that if we take the facilities to the rural areas, we can avoid these problems. But we realize that if we take in isolation, then it will not solve the problem at the country level. So then we thought how we can extend this model at the country level. And the conclusion was that in future, primary sector cannot absorb more than 10% of the labor force or the population. So it has to be the urbanization. We thought 70% population should be in the core cities, and 20% in the suburbs, and only 10% in the rural. But at least one such growth center should be accessible to the remotest village. Now, let us go the parameters. When the city grows, the trip length and trip frequency, trip rate, both increases. So we have to take care of that. Then, distance. Small distance we can walk. Then, up to 3 kilometers we can do by the cycle on those. Beyond that, then we go for the car or private mode, and then the public transport. So this is the parameters which you have to take care. Another area is energy requirement. Which mode consume more energy? The car consumes around 900 watt hours per passenger kilometer. Bus consume around 230. The rail consume around 10, 11, and light rail even less than that. So that means another area consumption. How much area these modes consume? The rail can cater to 100,000 passengers per hour per direction. Buses, light rail can take about 70. Buses still less. And then if you go down, the car or private mode can take hardly 10,000. So area requirement, energy requirement, and all those parameters when we take, then what sort of urban structure should we provide? For low density, naturally the private mode is the most cost effective. When it increases, then intermediate public transport comes in. Beyond that, buses come in, but at a higher density level. And then ultimately, the rail, which is very costly at the low density, becomes the cheapest. Then then we said, all right, what is the range? Beyond 1 lakh, a city is not critically economically viable. But beyond that, beyond 3 lakh population, the cost of maintaining the city starts shooting up exponentially. So then the solution comes, cost of services increase exponentially after 3. Then cheaper mode should be provided. Then limited, in the textbooks when we were studying, we were told that counter magnets or the ring towns or satellite towns is the solution. But we found that those solutions are not, because if we take 2 cities and 4 satellite towns to each, you have to create 8 more corridors. And if instead of that, if we provide those 8 towns along the same corridor which is connecting the 2 cities, it is most viable. And it serves another purpose, because the high density, then rail mode, which is the cheapest at that, becomes viable. So we should guide the future towns along the existing corridor, but then what will be required? It should have a high density core and then surrounded by the low or medium density. Now, suppose if the state provide you a corridor with 5 basic facilities, railway, highway, pipeline, power line, and fiber optics. And then we say that, say about 5 kilometers either side of this corridor is open for potential urbanization with regulation. So rail as the electric buses as the basic mode, walk, cycle, rickshaw as the feeder can combine the very ideal combination for most effective and environment-friendly infrastructure. Second part, the rail in existing cities like metro is very costly. So why can't we go to the existing rail networks or surface rail network, which is most cost effective? This was the model given by Professor Indrasen, that connect a railway station to the nearby villages, provide those facilities, and this will be a sort of urbanization with rural ambience. We said, all right, why don't we extend it to the regional level and both sides of the railway track? So a conceptual model comes like this. The water in the middle, then a ring sort of a town served by an electric bus or an electric trolley, and the town to town served by the railways. And if we extend it further, a series of towns, like say a potential Delhi, Panipat, Sonipat, Rohtak corridor, then these towns are developed along this with the regulation, with full competition among the developers also. So, and hinterland in the middle, that means we have brought the city to the villages rather than taking the villages to the cities. And if we take it further, at regional level, at NCR will look like this. And it will be totally with rural ambience. Everybody has green within 500 meters or access to the public transport within 500 meters. And then from one town to another town by rail. And put together, this rail will give the same strength as the mega city is giving. But it will be linear rather than global. If I extend this model to another, say an example of states, if we take the potential corridor, say Maharashtra, and 1/3 of the existing rail corridor can meet the requirement for this entire urbanization for Maharashtra. Similarly, I have taken other, say for Andhra Pradesh. So the model has been similarly extended to different states and say, yes, and average was 33% to 40% of the existing rail network itself is good enough to take care. Then there was a concept came, economic plan is required for each new town. What will be its basic activity? Then we say some key or basic motivators or anchors are required, and then the town will take care of it. It can be a project-based pura, a general pura, or a coastal pura. Coastal pura concept came when after tsunami, Dr. Kalam took us to Tamil Nadu. Then we say, all right, why not do we develop the fishing harbors from every 10-15 kilometers and put the villages on the road connecting to the highway? Because the rehabilitation was being taken across the coastal highway, which naturally the fishermen will not stay there, they will come back. So this model of coastal pura was taken as that it will create the whole thing as urbanized and still maintain the rural character. Thank you. I will take the questions later.
Thank you very much, Dr. Rana. May I invite the last speaker, Mr. Rajendra Inani, Vice President and Segment Head of Water and Smart Cities at Tata Projects. Thank you, Rajendra.
Good afternoon, everyone. Am I audible? Yes. So, till now you have been hearing mostly from academia or the policy makers. My turn is from the execution side. So, Tata Projects doesn't require much of introduction. It comes from Tata family. We have the legacy of all nation builders. There are many prestigious projects across country delivered by Tata Projects. The most nearest one is the new Parliament building we can boast of, and maybe in next coming months, inauguration of Noida International Airport happens. That is also being built by Tata Projects. Coming to the topic around, I had the business practice of water and smart cities. So what I am involved into the projects related to river rejuvenation, water supply under Amrit, sewage systems, and seawater desalination. So I will be talking about the project right now executed by our business across India. I am giving a summary of around 9 projects which are represented in various cities, various states across India. You can see Rajasthan, Madhya Pradesh, Andhra Pradesh, and Odisha state. We are executing 2 large dams for irrigation. I will be going in details of them. They are in MP, Banda, and Hanota. Then we have done water supply for the city of Bhind and Sagar in Madhya Pradesh, and sewerage system, which is the main theme, around 7 projects in the city of Bhubaneswar, Ujjain, Jaipur, Vishakhapatnam, Vizag, and under Rutsikko, which is under Rajasthan government for Chittorgarh, Bundi, and Baran cities. So Dravyavati story you might have heard of. This is about 45-kilometer long river which was flowing throughout the Jaipur city, and it was converted into a nala sort of thing. This 45-kilometer waterfront is developed in the city. Now if you go to Jaipur, and this has transformed the city. Even the property prices have gone up because once this waterfront has come up. And there we have laid complete sewage lines across the nala, which is going to a STP plant, and about 150 MLD STP is treating the water and then leaving it in the river. So now across the river, because of the Dravyavati rejuvenation, lot of other facilities, beautiful gardens have come up in Jaipur city. In water supply project in Sagar and Bhind, more than 1.25 lakh water connection to every home. So in Sagar, the water comes from a dam, whereas in Bhind, there are 16 tube wells which are supplying the water, and after treating the water, it goes into the homes. Banda and Hanota dam are 2 large dams. Banda is a very large one. This total cost of this project is over 2,000 crore rupees, where it has a potential of 1.2 lakh hectare of irrigation land will come up. We are laying about 80,000 kilometer of pipelines which will be supplying water to the fields. And for wastewater excellence in various cities, I named before around 7 cities, where we have put various capacities of sewage treatment plant, and across the city, more than 1,000 kilometer of sewage pipelines in the city, which is connecting 2.5 lakh household connections. So again, the summarize, this project's total over 6,000 crore values affecting 4 lakh household, about 135 MLD of drinking water treatment happening, where we installed over 25 overhead tanks, a total 60,000 kiloliter of capacity. We are treating 450 MLD of wastewater, 1,000 kilometer of sewage network pipelines, 10,000 kilometer of water transmission and distribution pipe network, about 450 MCM water storage capacity in the 2 dams, which will further increase the water table, and 1.2 lakh hectare of agriculture land irrigation coverage. This is the kind of project we are handling on. What the technology brings into it, we call it a smart water. Now, every one of these facilities have IoT devices and SCADA. Even artificial intelligence is being used for leak detection in various water supply pipelines. We do asset management, and then SCADA command center in every one of these facilities to automate the work. Ultimately, we are moving towards water neutrality, resources recoveries, and nature-based solution, because as we know, water is going to be day by day a precious thing, and what we conserve is going to be a gold for future. New frontiers, what we are working on, desalination is the new thing, where from seawater, how seawater can be with reverse osmosis can be brought to the cities. Green hydrogen projects are coming up, and modular STP is the new thing. Right now in the cities, we create a big STP plant where the whole city, a sewage line to be laid, and it is to be brought to the STP plant. Instead of 1 MLD and 2 MLD modular STPs, which can be in a kind of a box, can go to the very near to the source of sewage at the end of a small nala or something, where it can be treated and the water can be released from there itself. Also, this water coming out of STP, like in our Vizag project, the water is being sold to oil company. They are using it as a industrial water. So the Vizag project is on PPP model. The project value is being earned by selling of the water. Yes, it comes when you execute this project, particularly for government, it comes with its own challenges, stakeholder management, where public perception, public representative, media, this you might have seen across most of the project when we execute in the city, particularly with municipal corporations. Financial oversight, where budgets need to be allocated to municipal corporations, their payment milestones, approval and design, a right of way. These are the challenges one has to go through. And then workforce mobilization, land acquisition for this project, because these are happening in public space, cash flow risk, contractual issues, agency mobilization. This comes with every contractor who undertakes these large mega-sized projects. With Tata advantage, trust, technology edge, and timely delivery. So sustainability is not just a goal, what we take it as our engineering standard. And at Tata Projects, we believe every drop we save today is an investment in India's tomorrow. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Rajendra Irani. I think we have time for some questions. Please address your questions to the speaker. If it is a general question, please let us know. You're more welcome to ask any questions. Any observations, any questions? Okay. Any questions? Anyone else? Please, yes, please.
I'm Rakesh Mehrotra. I'm representing IPHE. I had a small question for Dr. Rana. He has given a very thorough analysis. Actually, many of the recommendations people may not find practical in Indian situation. So, what is the practical advice for big cities and, of course, not big cities, but say 10 lakh population cities would you have?
Yes, actually, there are 10 minutes were given, so I could not
No.
really explain it.
I
No,
know.
let
You
me-
required
let me-
hours.
Let me take 2 minutes for this. In India, most of our mega cities, 60 to 70% needs redevelopment. Either the structures are so old or unauthorized or re-regularized, all those. So if then we have an incentive plan by redevelopment. And if for redevelopment, we can put into self-contained complexes. And my ultimate idea is that we can have even a sewerless city. Because if each enclosure can have its own local treatment thing and discharge the water only in the clean water channel, so a city can be compartmentalized and they are self-contained in such a way that what we do today, we say FAR is increased without touching the road network. Now what is happening around the ring road between Safdarjung Hospital to Bhikaji Kama? Can the ring road take care of it future? So redevelopment has to be in a planned way, 50 acres, 100 acres like that. So the main purpose is the incremental development by individual plots. No city is ever complete. Why in the winter we say no construction during this period? Why do we need so much construction again and again in the city? The city should be planned in one way, and if redevelopment takes, then it should be total redevelopment with total re-infrastructure development also. So there is a solution for that. If I just mention it, at long back,
Of course,
I had suggested to the
there
Lieutenant Governor
there
and
are
DDA.
endless questions,
Yeah.
but I just thought of one point, whether appropriate at this stage or not. In our country, do we have enough buildings for housing, or is it just holding which is going on?
Pardon? Can you repeat?
Is it just holding that is going on? Of course, I don't know whether we are the appropriate persons to answer it.
Yeah.
Because the present times we are thinking that
I
building
had-
materials are a very big burden on the environment.
I tell you, I have a detailed presentation on housing. We have 2.5 crore housing empty.
This is what I wanted to say.
And second, the real problem of housing is quality and size. If today the prices have gone skyrocketing, the model which I discussed, our idea was that the real estate prices will be between 2,000 to 5,000 rupees per square meter. So no encroachment, no unauthorized things will come.
Right.
Second part, my advice to the Urban Arts Commission and DDA both has been from time to time, at least the main corridor should be urban design three-dimensional, so that we should not repeat Barakhamba Road and Kasturba Gandhi Marg again. So it is the planning defect which we can take care, and particularly in the large cities, redevelopment is the solution.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank
We
you. Can
wish
I-
we had more time to.
Anytime you can contact me, I am available.
Can I ask anyone else would like to answer any questions, please? Yes, please. Aye.
Good afternoon, everyone. I am P.K. Kalra, representing IPHE. My question is to Mr. Alok. Sir, it has been observed that the rising level of ammonia in Yamuna River in Delhi belt. Can you tell me how we are tackling this?
Yes, it is increasing ammonia level in the Yamuna because of some industrial effluent and the pollution coming from detergents and all.
Yeah, even in the rainy well, we
In
have
the
found
rainy
that-
well, yeah, it's also because when the drainage system is unlined, so you know that that water also sweep to the groundwater and meet, and then their ammonia level increases. So as and when it go beyond their treatment level at the WTP, then what they will do, they have to stabilize it by the chemical precipitation and other appropriate method. Then they will
Aeration. Probably the aeration.
yeah, the other aeration method. So then they will able to take it, treat it, and then supply. Otherwise, unless until we have 100% diversion, treatment, and then disposal, we are not able to control manually or in a near future unless until we have a fully control over the discharge method and the standards.
Actually, there was a DGB tender few 2-3 years back, invited by Delhi Jal Board for Okla WTP extension. So they invited tender for removal of ammonia. The ammonia level at that point was around 6 ppm. So there was no party to treat that water to remove the ammonia, bring it down to 1 ppm level. So that there was no party available in India.
Yes, please,
There
Dr.
is
Rana.
Presently no method of treatment. Or
No method available.
Neither any of the plants are equipped, most probably. So that's why the flow from river Yamuna, they have to stop, plant capacity decreased and for some time. Presently, no plant is able to treat ammonia, both the pesticides.
Maybe because of the industrial effluent being discharged into Yamuna River, that has to be stopped.
I tell you one thing. You know,
Yes, can you make a very brief briefly, very briefly, please.
from, the Sabarmati riverfront development was financed by HUDCO with my instance, and you can see the change between the Ganda Nala it was and now it is.
Oh, correct.
Similarly, I had a plan to improve Yamuna, creating 3 lakes and channelize the Yamuna like the Sabarmati. And the upper lake was 200 square kilometers, and the second lake was north of Ghaziabad connecting Yamuna to Hindon of 100 square kilometers, and third was where the Hindon meets Yamuna between Faridabad and Greater Noida, a 60 square kilometer lake there. This was to store the water, then you can have a continuous water flow throughout the year. Now in lean season we don't have enough water. Second part, Nazafgarh drain has to be taken care before it reaches there.
Discharging to river Yamuna.
Because 80% pollution is here. So I think there are solutions. If we develop Yamuna properly, the 75% area would not have been encroached, which is, and it would have been a real asset to the city. And I had offered at that time to give the 100% funding from HUDCO. But there is no political will. What to do?
Thank you. Can I, is there any other question before we, yes? Sure.
In many forums, I have heard that it is due to the industrial this thing. But I am 90% sure because I have not done detailed study. It is the diffuse pollution which is coming from the agricultural fields, which is responsible for the ammonia. You are using what quantity of ammonia, urea fertilizer and ammonical fertilizers we are using. And don't think that only industrial effluents or sewage effluents come. There is what is called diffuse pollution, and a huge quantity is coming. Just for your information, whatever fertilizer is put on the land, only less than 50% is used. Rest is in the runoff.
Yes, sir, we
And
do
those-
agree. We do
those-
agree with
those
your
who-
opinion.
Just
and
a minute, sir. Those who know better about agriculture can correct me. This is the thing.
Thank you.
I wrote a paper way back in '99 on this point, and I'll share with you.
Sure.
Anyway.
Thank you very much.
Irrigation is the flood irrigation. I think we have to teach people how to even conserve water and avoid this pollution of the soil.
Thank you. Thank you. Is there any other points? Any other question, please? So just for me to
Just
wrap.
I want
yes,
to make one point.
Yes, please.
The Yamuna, the Najafgarh drain we were discussing about. The Najafgarh drain not getting the wastewater from only Delhi. This is coming outside from the Delhi basin or Delhi jurisdiction also. So almost 45% wastewater coming from the Haryana, mainly Gurgaon. They are putting their treated water and untreated water into the Najafgarh drain. Earlier it was named as a Sahibi river. It was a pure clean water river, but because of over the time, I think sir, I might be, yeah, Sahibi river. So, yes, lake. Then after it's named as a big lake there.
Can I ask Mr.
Thanks.
Rajender ji to say a few words, please?
Hello. So ultimately, this is the challenge in our country. From planning, from your engineering design, bringing it on the ground and get it in execution. I am closely associated with a similar project in Jaipur city, which was inaugurated in 2018. That 45-kilometer waterfront to get that old Dravyavati Nala into a now running Dravyavati river. But still, and we have 10 years operation and maintenance of the STP plants and gardens, but it still runs into problem, education to the people, the remote area of villages, the sewage get drained directly into the river now still, and making those controls. So we get the technical solution also, then after implementation, government will, many other local factors, what is the people around, and we are still continue to tap new nalas in Jaipur city, which are still polluting it, despite making all the efforts.
Thank you. Thank you very much. So, as I said, I just wanted to thank all the speakers for giving some really interesting insights and data. Let me put things in context as well. I've just finished my report on the Kerala Urban Commission, Kerala Urban Policy Commission report just recently. And what we observed in the 1 year, and this is something which is very important to understand, that there is great aspirations by the people of India. So when we have all the plans, when we have all the projects, ultimately it's the people who makes the difference. Let me give you an example here, and I think it's very important to understand why it matters, because if you have a beautiful equation without human beings, it's very elegant. The moment you put humans into that equation, it messes up everything. All your solutions messed up, all your technology is messed up. In Kerala, for instance, what we observed, that with the increasing urbanization, the projected figures for urbanization by 2050 is almost 87%. Okay? Most people now don't like to use public transport. The highest consumption is of private transportation. How do you deal with the aspirations of the people with all the solutions you put forward? So these are big challenges that we have to educate people. At the end, as I said, it's the people that matters. I just want to put some things back as a takeaway for yourself, that treat climate risk as a service reliability problem. Okay? It is a service reliability problem. And how do you deal with this service? How do you provide services? Especially in the context of climate change. As I mentioned in the beginning, it's about stabilization, mitigation, and adaptation. If you look at all the aspects, are we mitigating? Are we adapting? Or are we stabilizing the current conditions? We need to be very clear where we stand. Use life cycle carbon to choose designs and procurement routes. We don't do life cycle analysis. That's where the pollution comes in terms of the housing. And you're absolutely right. I have spent almost 28 years in the UK. We find huge pollution. Ammonia-related pollution is completely messing up waterways and lakes, which is not usable for human beings. Build governance that protects vulnerable groups and recognize the importance of local knowledge. So there are what climate change does to city infrastructure. There's all been referenced in the presentation, heat stress by the first speaker, urban flooding, drought and water scarcity, coastal surge and salinity, landslide and erosion. So we can see that there are disruptions. There are disruptions associated with displacement, water and power and water supply interruptions, asset deterioration and maintenance backlogs, public health stress and productivity losses, unequal impacts across informal settlements. And I said we can look at all the multi-hazard continuities, not a single asset compliances. So in that sense, there are hidden vulnerabilities. There are also opportunities to use local knowledge. We've seen from the examples given by speakers, and I would like to also refer to Prem Rana's presentation of Pura. And I remember interacting with the late Abdul Kalamji, and he talked about Pura at all times. And he was very keen that we should try and build a continuum, a rural-urban continuum, where we can really promote the idea of balanced regional urban development. Local knowledge as data and decarbonization as a framework for legitimacy. Are we making low carbon choices? This is the question I would ask each person. How much choices are we making? And that making low carbon choices is really important. Understanding workable materials and coping strategies. I think towards the end, I would say there are 5 decision levers that shape climate outcomes. There are standards that we have to maintain, especially resilience and life cycle carbons. We have to look at the data. We have to look at the design, which is most important. The procurements. When you look at the Lean Sigma approaches about procurements, what sort of procurements? What is the life cycle? The whole cost, whole life cost evaluations, operations, and managing service level indicators. So comparing options between life cycle carbon and the whole life cost, looking at the capex. Okay, and these are important aspects of considerations. I would like to just end by saying that at the end of the day, we are very fortunate. We are very fortunate that we have been able to define, we have been able to identify. But please bear in mind, solutions that only touch on mitigation is short term. The cost of mitigation will always increase. Solution that is based on adaptation is also short term because the change is very rapid. The solution based on stabilization is beyond our reach at the moment. We have crossed the threshold. Thank you very much for your time. Thank you. I think we have come to the end of the presentation. If there's anything else that you want, please come.
Thank you so much to our esteemed chair and all our distinguished speakers for such an insightful and enriching discussion. I would like to conclude with a thought by Anna Arendt, who said, "The earth is the very quintessence of the human condition." Today's session reminds us that the sustainability is not only about infrastructure or technology, but about protecting the shared world we all inhabit and pass on to the future generation. We will now proceed with the presentation of mementos. Now may I request Mr. Rajiv Agarwal, Managing Director of Fairfax Media Limited, to kindly present the memento to Professor M. Satish Kumar. Give a huge round of applause, please, guys. Now I request Mr. Alok Suman to please come up on stage for the memento. Now I may request Chadda sir to please come up on stage for the memento. Now may request Prem Rana sir to please come up on stage for the memento. And finally, may I request Sir Rajendra sir to please come up on the stage for the memento. Now, I would request all of our dignitaries to please come up on stage for a group photo.